Alright, so let's take a break from movies now. Let's talk about some music. So we will talk about the newest album from Micwise and Rhook Beats called Mad Scene, right? So little backstory before I start, right? So I didn't even know about Rhook Beats, right? He is a Trinidadian hip hop producer, right? He's mainly within the boom bap style of hip hop as well, too, right? So like when it comes to his instrumentals, it always has that kind of like 90s boom bap flavor, right? I mean, I am an absolute fan of 90s boom bap hip hop anyway, so I like how it's incorporated into today's hip modern urban musical styles, right? But yeah, I didn't even know who Rhook Beats was until a good friend of mine by the name of E. Smitty, aka one half of the Soul Powers. He's part of the Rebel Embassy. He's a North Carolina rapper slash singer. I interviewed him a couple times. Quite recently, he was the first interviewee in my Hip Hop Top 10 podcast. So that's him. Yeah, so he kept telling me about this producer from Trinidad who he got in touch with, and he went in to do a song with him, right? And then actually like listen to the project. It's called Rhook Tapes Volume 2, right? And he actually has a song called The Variation. Pretty solid song, right? But yeah, I actually checked out the album. It's actually on Rook's Bandcamp page, right? And I'm just there like, these beats are solid and just these guys and what they're doing over these beats are great, right? But the moment where I heard the first track on the album, right, which is called Beachline, this is from a rapper called Seth Gaines, right? Um, that one I was like, all right, this Rook guy is somebody that I definitely have to keep an eye on, right? Because what I will say though, like as far as his style goes, he comes up with these very accessible, I would say radio friendly hip hop beats, right? But they still owe a lot to say, again, to 90s, hip hop as well, too, mainly East Coast hip hop, right? So it's that kind of like branching out between the old and the new that I really appreciate from him, right? And yeah, just off of that song alone, Beachline, I was like, all right, this is the guy I really need to keep my eye on. That would be Rook, right? And of course, well, Micwise actually collaborated with him before on Volume One, right? On a really brief track as well, but it was really solid as well, right? So yeah, I was actually surprised that these guys were gonna hook up together to do album together, right? Um, and really and truly, it makes a lot of sense, right? Because one of the main themes of this album is just the idea of you as an artist coming from Trinidad having to like physically leave your country a bit to go to the States to make it big, right? But yeah, both guys pretty much prove that they don't really need to do that. Rook just needs to just make solid, beats and, just find the right artist to collaborate with, regardless of where they're from, because he has collaborated with artists outside of the States as well too, right? And yeah, let the music speak for itself, right? And then, well, Mike now, because of just how laser focused he is on this coming through with this these solid bars, yeah, he does not have to, step out of, Trinidad to see greatness, right? Even though the appeal of it is there, right? Yeah, he just lets his art and his craft, speak for itself as well, right? I could tell like this is like what they're going for with Mad Scene, right? Like there's these two artists who kind of have that mindset about wanting to carve their own names into history, but they feel kind of limited by where they're from. But it's like nah, like we need digital age now. We could still do our thing, Jen, and we don't even have to leave our country, right? So to speak, right? So it's like that. And then lastly, before I get into like the tracks themselves, um, it also has a Daytona kind of vibe to it too, because yeah, this thing only clocks in at about 19 minutes long now, you know what I
Right.
mean?
Sure.
And it just kind of feels like Mike is the Pusha T and Rook is the Kanye, right? I don't mean that as a diss, right? I don't mean that as a diss. But yeah, basically just trying to find out how much fire I could pack into a short project, you know what I mean? And still make it and still do it in such a way that you will listen to it over and over and over. And I would say that these guys achieved that, with this project here, man. So Ricardo, you checked out the project, right? You checked out Martin.
Right. Yeah. I only gave it one list. I couldn't. It was yeah. This week was a weird week for me with computers, so I'll lose the file and I'll go back and download the file from you again and stuff like that. Whatever.
And speaking of file, folks, this will be available, this coming Friday, regardless of when you hear this. So this will be available on all streaming platforms, Friday. But we just got, a early,
Right.
link basically to check it out. So don't think that you could go on, I don't know, some torrent site and find it, because you won't, right? Another note I want to add. So in the review itself, right, where I say the title Madness, right, that will be track 1. The actual name of the track is Outside. So when I received the link from Micwise himself to review this project, that track was called Madness. So clearly the name was changed, between then and when the, basically the playlist was revealed. That's about a few days before the release of this album. Yeah, I found out that the actual name of the track is called Outside. So whenever I say Madness, I'm referring to the track Outside, right? Just wanted to clear that up, just to avoid any confusion going forward with this review. Alright, so I will just do this quick track by track review of it. It's 7 tracks long, sorry. We kick things off with Madness, right? So you get this beat that is laced with these haunting female vocal chops. It feels like it's...
It start off, it's taking sample from the Dark Knight, so like, alright, good.
Yes. Where it says madness is like gravity, all it takes is one little push. Is the line, right? Is one of the great lines of that movie, right?
Yeah.
And it's really clear that both Mike and Rhook are fans of the Dark Knight trilogy.
Yeah.
And honestly, as a huge fan of the trilogy, yes, even the third one, I stand by that film. I don't blame them at all, right? So Mike, right? I mean, we've always talked about Micewise's, just lyrical dexterity, right? And yeah, in this case, he wastes no time dropping these like rewind wordy, play it about 5 times and then you realize, oh shit, that's what he say, type of bars, right? So he starts off by saying, when I see G's, I get a special effect.
Yeah,
it's only within my 4th or 5th listen when I realize what he's saying is, when I CGI get a special effect. I'm like, what?
Yeah. Well, CG,
like,
you can also just say, well, CG, as in just CG now.
Exactly. CGI. But yeah, there's tons of standout bars in this though, and we get a large amount in this like 1 minute and 50-second track, right? Some of my faves, some of my favorite bars include aim for the heads, don't know what a wanted shot is, illustrate with the pen, I ain't talking drawing comics, went from rapping for peanuts, get it, due to high passion, now to get me animated on stage for live action, be a higher price than racial sniffing, tough pills for promoters to swallow, need to be paid for spitting. Like, you see, this shit like this is getting me really excited, right? So, yeah, this was a really strong way to kick off this album here. And I'll close with this, right? The track also ends with another sample from The Dark Knight. This is where Bruce Wayne says, I was meant to inspire good, not madness, not death. So, me, this kind of, Dark Knight fan in me is now wondering, is Micwise, Batman, or Joker in this scenario, right? He's been stepping his game up, but how is his work, how is his grind going to inspire other artists? Are they going to do the same thing, or are they going to hate on him because of what he's doing, right? So is he going to be the hero or villain out of all of this? And to me, that's what I feel is like one of the main themes of this particular EP here, right, or album, right? But maybe I'm just overthinking things, right? But yeah, Ricardo, your quick thoughts on Madness.
Yeah, roughly the same thing. I was thinking all of these, like, oh, he's clearly a lot of, he does a lot of movie stuff because he, what you wanted is that had a straight up like a whole clip from Birdman in it, had stuff like that. Though. Like, he's always have his movie stuff in it. So like, cool. I dug the hell out of this.
Right. So up next we have Beg, right? So Rhook gives us this beat made of like dusty boom bap drums, and we hear like this retro synth, this right? It sounds like it's from some 80s video game, right? I love how it's pitch shifted when the song actually kicks off, right? The first verse is quite interesting because Mike starts rapping in third person, but then the moment he starts talking about how frustrated he is over the little acknowledgement he gets as a local rapper, he switches to first person on the 5th bar, right? And there's a couple bars in this that really like resonated with me, right? So where he says, they want me to make it in America, but I ain't apply for immigration. My features go make the Jake try incrimination, right? Also, that Sizzler reference in the end, the first verse, I fucks with that, that's great. And even better now, he uses that to kick off his second verse now because it features like these references. It came out of nowhere for me, but it's just how he keeps going with it, right? To coffee of all things, right? When you hear it, you'll know what I'm talking about, right? But yeah, I love that track, right? And I'll just talk about the third track here and then you'll share your thoughts on both, right? Up next, we get Flagrant, right? And this opens with a Bane vocal clip from The Dark Knight Rises, right? Which is funny because on the track that Rhook and Micwise worked on together on the Rhook Beats Volume 1 EP, that's called Insomnia, you actually hear a couple of being clips as well too, right? But in this case here, it's the one where he says our plan is proceeding as expected. It's kind of funny because how it's mixed, it sounds like being the scene, madness proceeding as expected, right? But that's just me. We get this
Right.
string-assisted soulful instrumental. Mike loves these soulful beats, right? And just in one verse, Mike just goes all out on his haters and detractors who've pretty much questioned his credibility for years, right? Points for when he
Right.
says you throw shade, but fans have never been swayed once. I was like, all right, yeah, I get that one. I get that one,
Right.
right? But yeah, this is technically an interlude because you only get one verse and that's it. But yeah, for me personally, I just felt we could have gotten another verse out of this. But I get the gist of what he's getting at, right? But yeah, this song works for me too, right? So yeah, Ricardo, your thoughts on Beg and Flagrants?
Right, yeah. Well, Beg didn't stick with me as much, but Flagrant Real stick with me with that little kind of just again, just dragging the heaters is hilarious to me to see because the last time he did it, it was oof, it was uncomfortable to hear, and I can't help but I was that I can't help that to think that I was part of that somehow. However, yeah, just great stuff. You can't go wrong with some good beef track, and yeah, Mike was hard. He just dropped it.
So up next we have Masterclass, which features the feast, right? And the title of which is self-explanatory because Mike and the feast just demonstrate the fine art of stacking dope bars on top of other dope bars. Over, in my opinion, one of the best instrumentals on this album, right? It has this trunk slapping drum beat over this really like cinematic string assisted loop, right? And there are just so much bars to choose from. I can't even reference them all. So like when Mike says, for example, a fast, I'll be part of it, never. From that pop sound, yeah, the farther the better. Get it? Haha. Or when the face says, when your ego get big, you go pay the price. Hit you so smooth in the face with that alu pie, you know what I mean? So he always like that kind of humor, that local humor when it comes to his bars as well too, right? But yeah, Masterclass was excellent in my opinion, right? Up next we have Dan, which I have a sneaky suspicion will eventually be released as a single, right? It has this smooth trap flavored sound. It has this catchy ass hook. It just stays with you, right? And I imagine this being part of like a summertime playlist. Like if it actually comes out, between now and say the end of August, yeah, this could be like a summertime bop though. It just has that kind of smooth laid back vibe to it, right? And I love how Mike just matches the smoothness of it with just this charisma and bravado, right? You can tell like he's just having a blast on this song here, right? But yeah, I really, really enjoyed this track here, right? So yeah, Ricardo, your thoughts on Masterclass and Dan?
Yeah, no, Masterclass is a classic, true classic. In fact, I thought this was the one that's supposed to come out because like yo, this was real hard though.
Yeah,
And
boy.
yeah, I don't know. So I don't know if I think I saw this online where he say how the face drop one of the best verses ever. I think it's him. It just slipped in my mind. I had to look back on in
Well,
Micwise.
well, if it's this one though, he snapped on that beat though. Holy shit, he
Yeah, yeah,
snapped on
yeah.
that verse, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I think it's that. But yeah, so that just had me because that the track that stick out to me for this. This and the first track is the two that were two favorites throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, this is real hard. And then yeah, next track hard, but again because I didn't have time to sit down. I should have. What happens is that I ain't put it on my phone to walk now,
Oh,
so it
okay,
didn't
okay.
stick with me to take. I don't listen to music home unless I in the morning drinking tea. So the only way I just get the music and try to absorb it properly is to get a little walk or a run now. Unfortunately I didn't have time for that this week. But yeah, this really that one hard to, but I had to get this a re-listen.
Right, so now we get to the second to last track. That will be Youth Man featuring Evo and Engineer, right? This is the
Right.
longest track on this record here, and it's easily one of the best in my opinion, right? It's not my top
Right.
favorite. We'll get to that in a bit, haha. But it is a true highlight, though, right? This is the sole posse cut on this album, and this is where pretty much Mike teams up with Evo and Engineer, right? Rook's Beat is another favorite of mine though because it has this really chilled out it just has this chilled out jazzy vibe to it though with the pianos, and it just has these like boom bap drums which I guarantee will make your head nod, right? um
Yeah.
Evo's verse, right, in particular, is one that you had to kind of sit down and pay attention to, because it starts off rather provocatively. That's all I'll say without spoiling anything, right? But it is one of those things where you just think, okay, there's not much to it, but if you like really sit down and take in what it is he's saying, yeah, the man crushed it with his verse though. It's very witty. That's
Yeah.
that's what I really appreciate about his verse. It's very, very,
Yeah.
very witty, right? Very sharp as well too, right? And I love how Evo ends his verse with some truly clever references to tertiary education, right? That's all I would say about spoiling anything, right?
Right.
So speaking of references, Mike comes in with the second verse, right? And like he drops these bars over the entirety of his verse, right? Centered on weather. And just like with Man, this is one of those things
Yeah.
that will hit you like when you listen like about 4 or 5 times you realize what it is he going on. What going on, right? Like you realize, oh shit, that's what he say? So he starts off with this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Give me an ear instead of Iron Mike, it's raining. Breath of fresh air so you know it's Mike's price you're paying. Since to the throne I'm a ear, been seeing kindness waning. Takes folks a while to warm up when the climate changing. But I ain't dipping again when clouds approach me, cause I'm predicting my rain without Sigoni. Cause I'm
Wow.
predicting my rain
Yeah.
without Sigoni. As in Sigoni Mohammed
Yeah.
Dread, as in weather anchor on TV6 News, you know.
Yeah.
This is where we
Yeah.
at to do. This
Yeah.
is
Hard.
where we at.
Real hard.
So I'm gonna say this right
Yeah.
out. I seen
Boy
this right
playing
out the
with
bat
truth.
here. Another verse year contender right here. I loved this verse
Right.
too. Like,
Yeah.
like when I really sat down and
Yeah.
took in everything that he was saying. It's just these references about the weather, about this, about
It
this.
is
I
always
like,
get.
wow,
It
boy,
is always though.
really?
Yeah, he's always get a smirk out to you. It's just like, that's funny.
Yeah, boy. Like when I like you're just vibing with the beat there. You just hear them flow. But like when I sit down, I realize, oh
Right.
shit, this man is talking about weather. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
temperatures rising and
He's
this and
always
that.
get a smirk out.
Like
He's
what?
get
You
a
know what I mean?
smirk out to your
But yeah,
face. And it's like,
this.
all right, that's real funny and real clever. Yeah. Yeah.
I know, boy. But yes, I have to say this is
Yeah.
another verse of year contender. This was hard, right? And Engineer, I felt like he closed his song off strongly as well, right?
Right. Yeah. Me
And I
too.
love
Yeah.
how he built off of Mike's weather references because he's talking about seeds growing to become plants. So you need
Right.
they need water and when you rainfall and all that kind of stuff, right?
Right.
I love
Right.
how he does growing and building upon this team, right? So of course, and I love how it kind of ties back to the title itself because yeah, he's a youth man who dreamed of being a rapper, and here he is, right? He actually becomes a rapper, right? And how he flow on that beat though, wow! Like just his flow and his timing throughout that verse was great, and his extended verse, I must say, right? But he killed it. He knocked it out of the park with that one. So yeah, second best song on this album, right? Which means
Okay.
that my first is the final track, Seven, right?
Right.
And this is the first single, right? So Mike and Rook decide to save the best song for last, right? In my opinion, right? I love how it has this dramatic. The beat itself has this dramatic, immersive tone to it, right? And it has like these bouncy boom bap drums, right? But it just really has this kind of like intensity to it, right? When you really think about it, I think it has to do with this piano chord that they just keep looping throughout the song, right? Um, but yeah, when it comes to lyrics, right, on this, right? I would say if you've ever felt like your art and your creativity have no value simply because you're from Trinidad, listen to this song. This song will inspire you. This is some truly inspirational shit, right?
Yeah.
So on the first verse, he does some storytelling, right? And this, I would say, again, this is another pick for verse of the year. So he's talking about how he's taking his peers' advice, right? To basically go to the States and pursue a rap career, right? So I like
Right.
that even early on he'll drop this cold hard fact on here in terms of like how non-soca artists are accepted in Trinidad, right? So he says, because Trini's rate artists like the frayed cockroach only respect you when you're flying. Like think about that, think about that, right? So there's a moment, right, where when he enters the embassy, right, he just drops, well, in the story, right, he just proceeds to drop like a stellar series of bars, right? So basically he drops multiples of 7. And I literally had to rewind it, right, numerously, right, ha ha ha, right? And I had to listen to it line by line by line. And this is how committed I am to this music review shit right here, right? So when Mike says at the very end, I took 7, broke it down 7 times, multiply that at the end of the first verse. He really do that, He gives us multiples of 7 in those last set of bars, Shred. And I just listened to this like, Huss. What else you want me to say, John? Like, what else you want me to say, right? I don't know. I don't know, right? And then
Yeah,
he just comes with probably the best hook on this whole record, which is it's 7 TT to 1 US, but no stress, grind 7 times harder than the rest. That for me is like a mantra for me, where like if I ever feel
yeah,
like worn
hard.
down, I feel like nobody like taking creativity down here seriously, right? I just listen to that track though. It's so inspirational, right? I love the second verse as well too because he's talking about the blood, sweat, and tears on the path towards becoming a great rapper, right? And when I say great, I mean like revered universally, right? Not just in Trinidad, right? A couple of bars that truly hit me, right, was where he says, "Eating off streams, them riverbanks is nothing. We need oceans, but that's a frank discussion."
Yeah,
That one hit my way. That
great
one
line.
that hit my heart. That
That's
hit
a
my
good
heart.
line.
That hit my heart. Right? So think about that for a sec.
Hmm.
So yeah, for me, best song on the album, one of my favorite songs of 2023, bar none, love Seven. So yeah, Ricardo, your thoughts on Youth Man and Seven?
Yeah, yeah. Again, too classic. I think. Again, I really wish I listened to this a little more because, but again, they just get this smoke out of me the first time I hear it. Like, wait, now you see it? I would right thing. Cause what happens that I forget what it was the day when they gave me it. I listened to it and then something I had to do for the whole day. I really regret not listening to this more. As it is. But yeah. This had me cracking up mostly because again that Frank Ocean line had. It's like yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
know. But what
So
what,
stuff
what
like
about
this.
what about Youth Man though? What do you
Right,
talk about
yeah,
that?
I did appreciate it as much as I could have because I was enjoying it, just good collabs. But again, I had to give it another re-listen. I only listened to one or twice.
Once, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
and
just
yeah,
once or
I
twice.
will
Yeah,
say Youth Man and Seven. Those are tracks you have to listen to more than once, though, because
yeah,
yeah, it
hmm
will hit you like unexpectedly, right? And that's what happened with it. Because I gave this multiple listens, right? Because when I already sat down to make the notes, that's when I pick up on the weather stuff in Youth Man and the
right.
multiple of Seven stuff in Seven. So yeah. But yeah, at the end of the day, this is a damn solid album or EP, whatever you want to call it, right? Technically it is an EP, because of the runtime of it, but you could kind of call it an album, I guess. But yeah, really, what makes it work though is just that chemistry. We always see that when it comes to Micwise projects, whether it's the Unusual Suspects or He's Wise, right? But in this case, it's just Rhook just coming up with these earworms of instrumental stuff that I could hear on the radio just playing on repeat, right? And
Yeah,
just Mike Wise just kind of tuning himself to those beats and just delivering like some of his best work to date, though, in my opinion, man. The guest features are great as well too, whether it's the Face or Evo or Engineer. They came, they shut shit down, they do their damn thing, man. You know what I mean? But yeah, just in closing though, what I do hope with this though, it's one of those things that you just kind of wish for, in the grand scheme of things though. But I will say, as far as Micwise projects go, this is probably one of the most accessible projects he's put out, right? This is mainly because of Rhook
yeah,
Beats' sound, right? Sound, sorry, that's what he brought to the table, right? Again, this is the kind of stuff I could hear on radio. This is the kind of stuff that I could hear, wheel, and come back again. This is the kind of stuff it's that accessible, it's that well put together, right? And it does not compromise Mike's devotion in terms of just delivering
right.
these top quality bars, right? So it's not like they're gonna be pretentious or they're gonna fly over your head. No, you're gonna get everything, right? But with the more listens that you give each of these tracks here, yeah, the more you'll appreciate them, man. So yeah, I really do hope that more people check out this album when it comes out though. Yeah, this is the real deal, man. I had a blast with Mad Scene. Rated wise, I'm gonna give this a strong 4 to a very light 4.5 out of 5. Yeah, and again,
Hmm.
one of my favorite projects of the year, bar none though. Just mainly because of what Rhook Beats brought to the table with his sound, and again, just Mike Wise with these top quality bars, and then of course with the guest features, the guest performance, I should say, yeah, just doing their damn thing on this record, man. So yeah, can't praise this enough. I do hope to hear a track or two of this on local stations, and I'm gonna close with this. Even outside of this, how to describe it, because of the brand that Rook already has, right? In terms of reaching out to non-Trini rappers, I really do hope that people outside of Trinidad and Tobago actually do check this project out, man. Cause yeah, there's a lot to take in out of this, man. This is a real deal, man. I really enjoy this. So Ricardo,
Yeah.
I know you only checked this out once, but yeah, any final thoughts?
No, yeah, as it is, yeah, I give it like a closer 8 out of 10 as it is. Like what I listen to again, when I have somebody going to repeat the track, I'll listen to the track at least 10 times each, every track. It's like before I'll come to you, and how I know I'll just run it when I take a long walk. So I'll walk like a good long walk, and I saw that I listen to the song and the whole album will repeat. And I really only listen to it like 2 or 3 times each. That's not enough. Like to piece together everything and when I walk in. That's the problem now. So yeah,
It's kind of like
but
Daytona
as
in
it
a
is, what I
sense. You
listen to
you
and what I
wouldn't get
like.
everything in 2 listens. You had to listen to it more,
Yeah,
right? So it's like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Right. So it's it's a workable. That's a great comparison. Yeah. So yeah. But yeah, as it is, 8 out of 10.
All right. Nice. Nice. Nice.